Welcome to San Francisco Common Sense. Tonight's topic is about affordability in San Francisco, or the lack thereof. This show airs live the fourth Friday of every month at 7 p.m. on Channel 76. The show reruns every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the same channel until the next episode premieres. So, we're going to have several people here today. My name is Diane Wesley Smith, and I'm the producer of San Francisco Weekly News. And our next producer, they're all producers here today. Everyone will introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Idell Wilson, and I am a producer of Black Diva Media TV, Making the Impossible Possible, which airs every first and third Friday at 5 p.m. to 5:52. You guys know.
Yes.
Don't play with me. You know we get that good 52 minutes in, whatever. But anyway, you guys, my TV show is a little bit about making the impossible possible. I give everyone an opportunity to show their talent as well as mine. Coming up in September, you guys, I have a special show. So please watch Black Diva Media every first and third Friday, 5 p.m.
Great.
Yay.
Next.
Next.
Last. Goodbye.
Next.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Glee, and my show is called Planet Glee. And guess what? It started in 2007, about a year before Hollywood came out with that weird show about cheerleaders or something in the 50s. Or I don't even know what that show is about. But if you watched it, my show doesn't really have anything to do with it. In fact, my show has always been about love energy. I'm sort of a follower, as it were, of Bro Judd on Love Energy. That's how I started in 2000, being on public access television. And on Planet Glee, my guests are usually rockin'. Like I used to say back in when we had our show, and Idell had her dog and everything back in 2009. I used to say I was the resident punk rocker here at public access television here in San Francisco, and
Great.
I am.
Great.
And you're welcome.
Great.
Anyone is welcome on this show because it's a political show, and
we're going to talk a little bit more about it, but now we're going to have Jamil.
Yes, and it's the #1 neighborhood sports analyst. Coming to you from Let's Talk Sports Nation, where we talk sports across the nation, and we've been around since we putting it down since about 2011.
Wonderful. And what I wanted to add is I did say that I am the producer of San Francisco Weekly News. Very quickly, what we do on San Francisco Weekly News is talk about the issues and solutions that face us in San Francisco. So I'm really delighted to be here, particularly when the topic is affordability in San Francisco. So let's get started, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So the first question, Jennifer. Average rent in San Francisco is $2,300 to $3,100. Talk about rent control and why it is or isn't important to have it in San Francisco. Hashtag San Francisco, hashtag SFCommonSense.
Okay, I'm going to answer that question because I am a real estate broker as well and a property manager. And the rents, $3,100 is a little conservative because it's like $3,800 to $4,200, but that will work for the purposes of showing how ridiculously unaffordable the rents are in San Francisco. Things have gotten out of control. Greed is running rampant. Rent control only deals with properties that were built during a certain time period. So it doesn't help everyone. Furthermore, you have the Ellis Act. We have some attorneys that are so adept at changing the landscape. They're changing the rules. So rent control. It's important that a person read the rent control laws for themselves and find out what they do not govern. What I must say is the most effective thing is to attend the Planning Commission meetings and the Board of Supervisor Commission meetings, because this is where people go to get permission to come, right, to even come like that, so to speak.
Yes.
So that's what I wanted. That was my take on. Anyone else is free to.
Well, my take on it. Hold up, they ain't gave us a job enough to make $2,300 to pay no rent a month. I'm telling you, I'm a resident, been here all my life, and I ain't never been able to pay that much money. I'm telling you, thank God I was blessed with Section 8 at a time that they gave it.
Right.
Because right now, it's definitely you ain't getting it. So I thank God for that, and that's the only way that I've been able to stay in this city. But even if I wasn't even on Section 8, to get a job, first of all, I have to have the education to get the job. And then I have to have the knowledge and the skills if I didn't have babies and didn't, have other things to come with. So it's a lot before you get to just having $2,300 a month to pay some rent or even try to pay some rent. I'm just saying, if you would have gave out everything equally decades ago, which was equal jobs, equal education, equal, you know what I'm saying?
An even playing field.
A playing field.
This is the problem.
This is a problem.
The field is like this.
Yes.
We have people that are, God bless them, but they're coming to the city, Jennifer. They're fully equipped. They're college educated. Some of us are, but we have to talk about the masses, not the few. And the masses are caught up at a real disadvantage. And I want to thank the person from San Francisco SFCommonSense that sent the question about rent control. We have to seriously visit that issue. That is really a major issue. And I also want to mention, if you have a certificate of preference, if you have one, if you know anyone that has one, please get in touch with us. You can contact us through San Francisco Commons, because there's a lot of opportunity. Those people they're at the top of the list for housing. So we can talk more about that, but we're trying to do 5 minutes.
That's even higher than a Section 8.
It is. That's the first priority. Because let me describe. A certificate of preference was originally designed for residents of the San Francisco Housing Authority projects. And they were displaced when they began to renovate. However, in addition to that, redevelopment agency built a set of projects. So they said the certificate of preference is only for those in the San Francisco Housing Authority. Well, we beg to differ as real estate professionals and people that are from the community of San Francisco. We say a project is a project. So the certificate of preference should apply to all. So we wrote an amendment to the certificate, also asking for some down payment assistance. Because what good is my certificate if I can't afford to pay first and last or pay the moving costs, because I've had to move out to do why diddy because I can't live anywhere close. So, but anyone that was just placed in Hunters Point or in Fillmore have first priority at housing units. But then that's a whole other. How do we get them prepared? Which units? There's a lot that we need to get into. So I really think that's a great question.
It's a whole nother show.
Yeah. and we're, on my show, we're addressing that. And I'm sure Adele will have people on her show because she's socially active. And I'm sure all of us will. This is something that touches us all. And the disparity. Because, like as Adele said, the rents are high, but people cannot. We're fighting for minimum wage jobs. So if you go ahead.
I was just going to say, Miss Glee.
Oh, well, you know what I was thinking of, and you probably think this is off the topic, but it isn't. When I was in high school, the minimum wage was $3.15. What is the minimum wage today?
Oh, it's like $15.
No, the minimum wage for adults. Oh. But for children, it's young adults. Like when I was in high school, it was 92 cents. And we were happy. First it was 45. Well, that's how old I am. But I'm proud to say it.
Well, now it's totally changed.
Okay, so because the times have changed. The costs have changed. Back then you could buy a big bar like this for 5 cents, a big candy bar. Yeah. So, but the minimum wage for adults is $15 an hour now in San Francisco. The minimum wage for young adults, Jamil, do you know?
$15.
For young adults, the high school
Well,
students.
you know, you can't really work unless you get permission, and unless you're 16. And then the 16, they make that. I think it's $12.75.
Is that right?
Yeah, something
that
like
sounds
that.
right.
But you have to have your parents' permission to work first of all, and then I think they only give them like 12 something. It's not very high.
Yeah, you can't do much.
I think it speaks to the country as a whole. Now, not every state, but most of the states, you know, that California, we know, is a very wealthy state amongst the
Right.
50, or if you count Puerto Rico, 51. You know what I'm saying? And
But check this out. And Jamil, you and I were discussing this, that San Francisco has become the most expensive place in the entire country to live.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is intensified. This is the most expensive place in the entire country.
Right. I mean, well,
So what do you?
You know, it's I mean, you know, it's kind of like it's interesting from my standpoint, because you know, when you grow up in the inner city, you think about cities like Los Angeles. You think about cities like New York. That's expensive, right? And we live in like one of the most expensive cities. And I think most of the youth and most of the people in Bayview, Fillmore, and the Mission, we don't even realize that. You know, in
Well,
the city.
you know what? I could honestly say this: you don't realize it if you don't have like a little bit of money and you pay that expensive thing. Because
If you're not in touch.
I'm gonna just tell you, it's not that I'm not in touch.
No,
it does touches me.
No,
Trust
you are in touch,
me.
but I mean people out there.
But
if
yeah,
they're not in touch, they
yeah.
don't know.
If they don't, you know, if you're not paying attention to what's going on
Right.
in your city and how things are coming up, you're just living life. You know what I'm saying? Just.
You're not giving anything back.
Well,
and
I mean, well, you know,
participating.
see, like this the thing, though, right? Like, really, what we got is we got a disconnect, right? So you got politics, you got upper politics, and then you got grassroots, and then you got regular people. So like regular people really aren't privy to the politics of the city. So we don't really understand those things. The only thing we understand is our day-to-day living.
Right, and the cold part about that, see, the when they're having the meetings, when it's going down,
Well,
it's at
that's-
1 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's at 2 o'clock.
Like
when most
people are at
try-
work, yeah.
Right,
City Hall, you know, the 2 o'clock takes Tuesday, 2 o'clock.
right.
Where's
And you gotta-
everybody out at 2 o'clock on
Right.
Tuesday?
Right.
Work.
Right. Right.
The voters and the people who, not saying all the people, but I'm just saying the majority people that it groups to handle is 2 o'clock Tuesday, they at work.
That's right.
Point
That's
blank
right.
simple.
The people that really need an
To
influence.
be at those
Well,
meetings.
So let's.
I mean, well, you know, like even with rent control, right? For instance, right? Because like we got to understand the politics that affect different neighborhoods. Like even in Bayview, like we don't know the politics that affect our
Yes, we
neighborhood.
do.
A lot of
They
us
don't want to learn them.
But hold on. But like for instance, like with rent control, like some of that, like a lot of those politics are affecting the mission.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those people, they stay in apartment buildings, and a number of them have gotten
It's tearing them up.
it's terrible.
Now they're building the high
The
rises
mission is-
to bring into bring in the people to, you know, take up some of that lack.
That's
as
right.
They say,
They're gonna do it.
Yeah, they're gonna do
They're
it.
gentrifying. So let's move on to the next question, because housing, like you
Yes,
said, that's a
let's go.
show within itself. Jennifer, would you read the next question?
Oopsie. I believe it's on our screen too.
I can't see that
Oh,
from way over there.
SF. San Francisco has one of the highest minimum wages in the U.S. Didn't we just discuss that?
Yeah, we
What's
did.
the effect of rising minimum wages?
But
Difference between minimum and living wage.
let me
Adele
just.
wants to
I
address
just got to
that
get
question.
that because
Come on.
I'm gonna just tell you, I don't care how much minimum wages you got. If my rent is $700 a month, that takes my whole check. I
Right.
need to make minimum wage.
Right, and that would only allow someone to
And all I can do is pay rent. That's it. I can't buy nothing to eat. I can't buy no clothes. I can't buy nothing extra. All I do is pay rent.
No, you can't have a life.
I'm just being real. I can't live.
So-
It's just unfreaking believable. What do we want here? We want people to be living just to pay rent? Come on.
And do we want families to remain in
Exactly.
San
Come
Francisco?
on. No, that's so unfreaking fair.
So I think we've kind of.
I mean, you know, like as far as they been needed to raise minimum wage. I mean, when
But it's a drop in the water. It's like putting me pouring a bucket into the ocean.
It's yeah, and it's like though, you have to have some rent. I'm not lying. It has to be a rent control, and it has to be a low wage rent control, because everybody is not prevalent to this high lifestyle.
Okay, well, we need to exactly. So what we would call it in the industry is we need real affordable housing.
Yes.
Because they can talk
Yes.
affordable housing all day and
All
all
day
night,
long.
but affordable to whom?
To whom?
well,
So
you
we
know,
need
well,
affordable
well,
to low, to the
well,
very low, the low, the middle, the upper middle, and the California Health and Safety Code
Is it some
has
new
been talking
questions
about
coming
that
up?
for some time. So we need real affordable, because they can say
Real.
affordable, but affordable in San
Exactly.
Francisco is looking like $45,000 a
Exactly.
year.
And then if you're still gonna have the stigma that we have in this world, you've got to make another range of something, because they have it. I don't care what you say. You have stigma, and the stigma is if you have a black woman coming in there with 3 babies without a man, and then you have a white woman coming in there with 3 babies without a man too, they look at us and they be like, well, may I help you? And then they look at the other lady, may I help you? And they be like, well, I think we want to help her because maybe she'll do something. She ain't lazy. But see, the stigma is black women, they're lazy. They want to have babies. They want to stay on welfare, and not do nothing. That's not true. But that
That's right.
stigma is still digging in our butts decades later. I'm just being real.
No, you
it still
are.
affects us right to this very freaking day.
Yes.
You bring up something really important, and that's what I try to get to on Planet Glee, is that we don't forget. Planet Glee does not forget. Planet Glee does not forget 14th and Valencia. That is where I lived in the Mission most of my, first 15 years here in the city, living close to 14th and Valencia, and feeling that those are my neighbors. So I took pictures when they knocked it all down, because I wanted people to see what it actually looked like when people lived there.
You're not
It
leaving a
doesn't
legacy.
feel like people are living there now. It's sort of like these aren't our neighbors.
They're trying to paint
They're
another
our-
picture.
Well,
Yeah.
they're changing. They're gentrifying
Yeah.
it before our eyes. Now, Jamil, I want you to weigh in on the next question.
What is it? Can you read that out?
Yeah, he can read it. Just find one that, because we have more than we can answer during this show.
Same question.
No, yeah.
Okay, let's take a look here. Okay, so the biggest issue is we can just continue with affordability. Jamil,
Yes.
how is the lack of affordability in San Francisco affecting you and your peers? Because I'm always concerned, discussing and doing what I can. I'm down for helping women, but especially young black males and black males in between 15 and 25 or 30. And then we can go up higher. But you mentioned a disconnect.
Right.
I don't dig it.
I mean, well, I just think, people just gotta learn, how the city works, and get educated. I mean, the schools don't teach these things.
So what would you advise young men to do?
And if you don't learn in the schools and you don't learn in the household, it's like, where do you get it from? So it's like, okay, when we talk about affordability and affordable housing, that's a bad term, because it's like affordable for whom, right? But when we talk about low income housing, now that's specific. That's real specific, and because that means that's targeting a certain income bracket right there, and that's this low income housing that's spelled out. So I would say, people gotta, you got the internet, You know, you got to start looking up things and educating yourself. And then also, you know, I would recommend going to City Hall and just, you know, doing your own tour and picking up information and then deciphering the information for yourself. You know, what's interesting right now is like there's a young man and he has a documentary coming out, and it's called The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's like totally addressing this issue because he lost his house. He lost his grandfather's house, right? And he didn't lose it.
Four of us.
Huh?
Click all four of us.
Yes.
Right. So
we're gonna wrap it up like this.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what happened was his grandfather bought a house. You know, they came over here in the 40s, and then after generations, you know, of things not passing down, you know, the generations later lost the house. So you know, in the trailer, it's a beautiful trailer. It's eye-watering trailer. You know, he goes and he looks at the house and he says, you know, I'm gonna buy this house again, right? So that's what the documentary is about. And I think, like, you know, just that whole story, how like black men working on projects, and just, you know, he put the challenge up to himself. You know, and I think when you challenge yourself to try to do something or get something accomplished, then, you know, your mind is automatically going to start plotting on ways to get it done and find out how to do it if you don't know.
You know what? To me, the thing about it is we can't go by what our parents and what our uncles and aunties and all those people learned. We have to come to today's status.
We can bring the hard work, the ethic, the work ethic, but come on.
We need to come to today's status, which is sitting in these places, learning what today's rules and regulations are for what's going on in today's world. Because it's a total different change from what it's been.
That's right. And this is why I almost say weekly, many of us say, if you're not doing anything on a Tuesday, go to the Board of Supervisors meetings. You know, that was how I got my voice heard. The house that we bought, I went back to school. I got my broker's license. I kept my eyes open. I'm out here doing service, helping people. And an opportunity presented itself because I'm attending meetings. I'm going here. I'm going there. Those of us here, we have been fortunate. We know how to advocate for ourselves. But what we want to see is we want you to get out and advocate for yourself.
You have to do
because
it.
we're all together. Now, the one thing I want to say is, Jamil, there's too many black men unemployed, and I'd like to end this show. We have a couple of minutes. I'd like you to speak to the fact, people, they say to me that I want to slap them, but I'm not a violent woman anymore. They tell me that the young black men don't want to work. So will you wrap up the show? We have a few minutes. Tell the truth on that.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I think, see, they're always blaming America's ills on black people. You know, so if there's a crime problem in America, it's black crime.
Right, but they're saying black men don't want to work.
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
So if there's a drug problem in America, then it's blacks, right? So if you ask me, I think there's a number of men, period, that might have that issue. I mean, they called them slackers at one time. That's not even a black term, slacker. Right?
No.
So they just blame that on us, and then like you know, it's a very interesting thing. If you look at poverty, you look at crime, you look at poverty, look at all these things. Crime is tied to poverty.
Yeah, no doubt.
In the 40s and 50s.
We have to wrap it.
Yeah, I want to give us 2 minutes each, so we can go on your 2 minutes, two, and let's roll from there. Go.
I'll wrap it up. We've got like
wrap it up with
we
your
got
2
like
minutes.
30 seconds. We don't even have it.
Well, we do. We got it to
2:25. She's gonna pull it.
Yeah, 28. We get pulled at 28. So let's get.
So
your
why don't you
last
do
words.
yours?
We're just gonna go around in a circle. Go get your last.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say that the majority of black men are in prison. And that's why that issue is, you know, black guys are not being.
Well, take it back to the affordability, though.
Yeah,
we're talking about affordability tonight.
We're also talking housing.
Right,
Yes.
but check this out.
And
Statistically, the
Let her
facts
do her-
the
let
facts
her do
just
her
came
minute.
out. I need to help you right
Okay.
at this point.
Okay, please.
There are more black men in college right now today than in the
they're in
penitentiary.
prison.
Really?
I just got the news, and I'll be happy to give you
I'm
the
happy to
factual
hear
source.
that.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
was
like
absolutely
I'm happy
delighted.
about
I
it.
put it on blast. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me very happy to hear.
But your sentiments are great.
To your affordability, you got about 30 seconds.
Go ahead, Adele.
Okay, go ahead, Miss.
No, you go ahead. I'm wrapping it up.
Okay, that's cool. I would like to say, wrapping it up on in affordability. The thing of it is we have to come down and learn what's in this world today. I don't care what nobody said, what happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It's about what's happening today. How are we making it today? How are we living today? How are we going through with getting through life? Whether it's a meeting, whether you have to be educated about what's going on in this world today. If you're not, guess what? You will be lost. Affordability, accountability, it's on going to meetings and making sure that they keep what's supposed to be in your neighborhoods. I'm telling you, money gets developed to these neighborhoods a month, and it's some coming to yours. Stick with your supervisor and find out what's going on, and then count for affordability and accountability and all that.
Okay, I want to thank BAVAC for allowing us to conduct this series on Common Sense, which airs the fourth Friday of every month at 7 p.m. on Channel 76. And in wrapping it up, I want to say get involved. This is your city. The elected officials, they will respond to you. Believe that has been my experience. That has been most of our experience.
Process.
They don't respond if one is not advocating. So show up. Don't act out, but show up. Do what you need to do. And as Adele said, and as Jennifer and as Jamil have all said, all of us are saying, basically, knowledge is power.
Yes,
if you
it
don't
is.
have information,
If
you
you
can't
don't,
fight if
yes.
you don't know how to make the move.
Yes.
So we want to thank you very
Yes,
much.
It's
God
knowledge
bless you.
is power.
That's it.
You got 2 minutes. Keep it.
Well, we all have call-in shows. I just wanted to interrupt
Yes.
and say that we
Call
all
in.
have call-in shows. So call up, please. I love it when you call up. Please call up Planet Glee Wednesday nights, 2nd, 4th, from 6 to 6:22.
Jamil, take us home.
No, y'all, I'll let y'all do it.
Go ahead. And
Okay.
I can honestly say, Black Diva Media, don't play with me, you guys. I keep it real on my show. Every first and third Friday, 5 p.m. live. If you want to be in the studio, I have a new show coming. It's called Listen to My Stories for September. Check in with me, you guys.
Thank you. So my San Francisco Weekly News, what we do is we try to bring you the facts and nothing but the facts. However, I do editorialize as well because the lack of affordability in San Francisco is something that I have been fighting against since 1994. We started our show around 1994. We can help. We will do. The Bayview Hunters Point Real Estate Professionals will do what they can. There are a lot of people that can help, but you have to bring it to us. You bring it to us. So on San Francisco Weekly News, we're doing a segment right now about affordability in San Francisco. Our next show will air Monday at 7:30 on Channel 29. Bye. Thank you.